I'm back. So, psychologically, infant souls are naive, impulsive, and pre-conventional, acting on impulse or habit with little or no thought for consequences. Because they lack both social understanding and self-inhibition, they are capable of committing antisocial and immoral acts without any sense of wrongdoing. As such, they do not fit well within modern society and may end up in prison or in psychiatric units. While they may lack the moral principles, social graces, and cultural understanding of older souls, infant souls are in a sense completely innocent, being without pretense or agenda. Stage 2, baby souls. In contrast to infant souls, baby souls think a great deal about the rights and wrongs of their actions. Their lives are about safety, security, structure, and order, rigidly so. They like to live in communities that are highly principled and civilized. Think of the Amish. Baby souls come across to older souls as rather square, strictly conventional and conformist. Both their beliefs and their actions are largely rule-bound, so they are often ultra-conservative, traditionalist, orthodox, upright, moralistic, religious devout, and mindful of law and order. That said, they will occasionally give in to temptation or temper tantrum and break the rules themselves, but then might find themselves tortured with guilt and shame. They are acutely aware of the rights and wrongs of people's action, including their own. I'm gonna go in the water. It's good for my leg to go in the water. I love the cold water. Here, I'm in the water. The water is very high, so that's good. And I like it. I like the cold water feeling on my leg. It's very good. So yeah, they are acutely aware of the rights or wrong of people's action. Yeah, including their own. Though they have a little insight into the motives behind them. A little insight behind the motives behind them. Bad behavior is sinful, and that's that. The other stage is stage 3, young souls. Young souls tend to be extrovert, outward bound, frenetically energetic, brash, competitive, political, ambitious, and individualistic. Life at this stage is about thinking for oneself and asserting oneself as an individual. Young souls are more ego-driven than others, keen to make their mark in the world. They are generally attracted to some form of worldly success, fame, fortune, power, glory. In fact, they are more fearful of death than souls at other stages. And those who aren't sure about life after death may be anxious to make a big impact on the world stage, to create some kind of symbolic immortality for themselves. Young souls cling to their own opinions, with the certainty that their own perspective is the right perspective, and their way ahead is by far the best way. They are very aware of their own agenda, but they do not really question it. Stage 4, mature souls. Mature souls tend to be more reflective than younger souls, with a growing understanding of self, growing empathy for others, and a desire for authenticity in both. Life is less about proving oneself and more about exploring right relationships. Mature soul Consciousness is no longer egocentric in the sense of being limited to one's own perspective and agenda, but is capable of accommodating multiple perspectives and different agendas. In fact, there is now a tension between what I want and appreciating what you want, or between the personal and the interpersonal, or between the personal and the interpersonal. Yeah. A few boats on the river. I think they want to pass on YouTube. That's the thing. So the disappearance. Oh, hold on. This makes life much more complicated. This makes life much more complicated. Sometimes overwhelmingly so. On the one hand, mature souls reject narrow-minded values. Yet, on the other hand, they are able to empathize with whoever holds those same values. Empathize with whoever holds those same values. Yeah. Fixed opinion and replaced by a sense of ever-shifting perspective. It all depends on how you look at it. This disappearance of solid ground can be hugely stressful, but it kicks off a search for deeper meaning and self-understanding, whether through art, psychology, philosophy, or spirituality. Mature souls tend to question everything, including their own motives, and are prone to do a lot of soul searching, literally. Stage 5. Old souls. Old souls tend to exude some degree of depth, gravitas, and wisdom that is quite obvious. In children, it can be most striking. Think, old head on young shoulders. For having moved beyond the stresses and conflicts of the mature soul, old souls have a growing sense of inner peace and freedom. The freedom, the freedom to enjoy being very much in the world, but not of it. Compared to younger souls, they are relatively calm, measured, untroubled, and stable, unattached to social structures and cultural expectations, being sure of their own existence and inner strength and their compassion for others. I like it here. It's so nice. Look at this. It's one of my favorite chilling spots here. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna come here more often. I like it here. So compared to younger souls, yeah, they are really compassion for others. On the other hand, finding themselves in a world that is so conflicted, chaotic, frantic, and superficial can be utterly depressing. For old souls, the aim of life is to find true self-expression and fulfillment. As such, they tend to go their own unique way in life, letting go and letting be, in a detached way that may seem very weird and eccentric to younger souls. Late-stage old souls find themselves consciously participating in the evolution of all that is, and often focus on teaching spiritual wisdom with great compassion. Note, these descriptions emphasize the differences between stages. In reality, though, there is a gradual blend from one stage to the next. A person at the start of the mature stage, for example, will act mostly like a young soul, but with elements of mature soul nature beginning to emerge. The lessons of each stage. So here are the 5 stages of soul evolution through human reincarnation, together with the typical learning experiences associated with each stage. And I'll come back with that.